If you've spent any time online lately, you have almost certainly seen Labubu. You know, the little monster with the giant ears from Pop Mart? It's become this huge cultural moment. It is the toy of the year, no question. But here's the thing, that incredible success has created a whole new problem. The hype. Well, it seems to be cooling off a little bit, and that's making the market pretty nervous. So is this panic for real, or is there another story hiding inside the data? Let's dig in. And here's the conflict in a nutshell. On one hand, you've got these clear signs that are spooking people. The stock price has slipped, and yeah, online searches for Labu are down a bit from their absolute peak. But on the other hand, you have a huge investment bank, JP Morgan, calling Pop Mart a top pick and giving it an overweight rating. That's basically analyst speak for, we really think this is a winner. So who's right? Let's dive into their report and see what they're seeing.
Okay, let's tackle that one metric that sounds kinda scary, the drop in search interest. This is the main data point that's got the market on edge. But what does it really mean?
Well, to understand the drop, first you have to appreciate the peak. And the scale of Labubu's viral moment, it was just staggering. The data from the report shows that at its absolute height, search popularity for Labubu just completely dwarfed these iconic, decades-old brands like Mickey Mouse and Hello Kitty. We're talking about a massive, massive spike in interest.
So here's the key idea you have to grasp. JP Morgan's analysis argues that for a brand new hit product, search interest is all about how fast new customers are finding out about it. It isn't a direct measure of how much stuff existing fans are buying. You know, once you're hooked, you're probably going straight to the Pop Mart app, not back to Google every time.
So that 5% drop? It sounds like a big deal. But remember, it's a drop from an absolutely stratospheric peak. When you look at the raw numbers, Labubu is still a search giant.
Just how giant are we talking? Well, even after that dip, it's still pulling in 2.5 times the search traffic of Hello Kitty. And when you compare it to other titans in the art toy space, like Cobb's or Sunny Angel, it's 13 times higher. 13! So calling this fading might be missing the forest for the trees.
And to show this isn't just some wild theory, the report pulls out a fantastic historical example. They looked at another global phenomena to see what its journey looked like after that initial blast of hype cooled down.
Do you remember the summer of 2016? Pokémon Go was everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere. That was the absolute peak of search interest for Pokémon, a total global frenzy. Let's just call that peak a search index of 100.
Now, here is the mind-blowing part. Today, Pokémon search interest is only about 15% of that 2016 peak. But its sales are 3 times higher than they were back then. So think about that. Less hype, way more buying. This strongly suggests that for a true super IP, falling search interest is just a normal part of growing up, not a sign that it's failing.
This whole Pokemon example really points to a much bigger idea. This isn't just about one toy. It's about the natural life cycle of what the report calls a super IP.
The report actually quotes a veteran toy industry supplier who says that, look, an average IP might last a year, maybe 2. But a true super IP can go for decades. And here's the crucial part. A massive viral launch, just like the one Labubu had, often means it's going to have a much longer, healthier life.
And the data completely backs this up. Just look at these titans. Star Wars' current search interest? Just 7% of its all-time peak. Hello Kitty is at 9%. It's totally normal for these legendary brands to have search traffic that's just a tiny fraction of what it once was, all while they continue to make incredible amounts of money.
So if the peak doesn't matter, what does? Well, this is where the analysts did something really cool. They dug deep into Hello Kitty's data and found a danger zone. A data-driven threshold that can actually predict when sales might be in trouble.
And here's what they found. For Hello Kitty, it was pretty clear. As long as its search interest stayed above 21% of its peak, sales grew. It was only when it dipped below that 21% mark that sales started to go down. So where's Labubu right now? It's sitting at 95% of its peak. It's not even in the same zip code as that danger zone.
Okay, so if the panic over search interest seems, a bit misplaced, what's the actual argument for growth? Well, the report lays out a super clear roadmap for what's coming next for Pop Mart.
And it's a whole slate of projects.
This is all designed to turn Labubu from just a toy into a full-on media franchise. We're talking new jewelry stores, an animated series, a big clothing collab with Uniqlo, new holiday toys, and they're even in talks with Hollywood about a potential movie. This is the classic playbook for building a brand that lasts.
And who are they going to market all this to? An absolutely explosive, built-in fan base. Get this, their loyal member base in China has grown 20 times over in just 5 years. It's now at over 46 million people. That's incredible.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. Even with that insane growth, they've still only captured about 16% of their main target audience in major Chinese cities. That leaves 84% of the market completely untapped. That is a huge runway for future growth right at home. And that's not even counting their global expansion plans.
All right, so let's put all the pieces together. What's the final takeaway from the JP Morgan report? What's the big picture here?
The core argument is actually pretty simple. JP Morgan is betting on two main things. First, the strength of Pop Mart's characters, its intellectual property or IP. And second, the company's ambitious plan for going global and their proven ability to actually pull it off.
And they're putting some really big numbers behind that belief. Their model is projecting a compound annual growth rate, that's basically the average yearly growth, of 52% for sales and a massive 66% for earnings over the next few years. Those are some seriously strong numbers.
Now, just for full transparency, it's really important to mention something the report itself discloses. JP Morgan does have a business relationship with Pop Mart. So as they say themselves, anyone looking at this should consider this report as just one single piece of the puzzle when making any kind of decision.
So it all leaves us with this big question. Is this little monster really the next Hello Kitty? Its journey gives us a fascinating look at the data behind a viral sensation, and it really makes you think about what separates fleeting hype from a brand that can build a true legacy for decades to come.